Hello everyone, welcome to the final day of Space Resources Week 2021. It's been a really fascinating and energizing week with so much audience participation. For myself, I feel it's been one of the very best hybrid events I've been party to, so thank you all for your engagement here and online, especially because there's been so many hellos from all times of day and all parts of the world. As you can see behind me now, we're going to have this session on the Capability Showcase. And the chairs, let me introduce them to you. Patrick Michel, you will have come across earlier this week. He's the Director of Research at CNRS at Côte d'Azur Observatory in Nice, asteroid expert and the ESA Hera mission principal investigator and co-investigator on various smaller bodies. Joining him will be Advenit Makaya, who is an advanced manufacturing engineer at ESA, supporting ESA missions on materials and process aspects and coordinating technology development activities on innovation. Are you both there? Can you join us on the line?
Yes, hello.
Hello, Patrick. Hello, Advenit. Lovely to see you both. I know you'll be keeping close eye on all the questions coming in, and hopefully, if time allows, as always, we will try to put the audience questions to our speakers. Is there anything you would like to say before we start?
I think you summarized everything, Lisa. We can start.
Very kind of you. And Patrick, anything from you?
No, we are just looking forward to a great session with many interesting talks. Thank you.
Thank you, and also for your own very interesting talk, which engendered so much life and questions earlier this week. So first up, as you can see behind us, if we get the list up again, we have Raphaël Chevrier, who is going to talk about the highway to the moon with Ariane 6. Over to you, Raphaël.
Hello, everybody. So I'm not sure that, can I share the screen? Directly on Zoom, can you see here? Because it doesn't work otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, hello everybody. It's a pleasure to speak for this Space Week's resource. So I'm Raphaël Chevrier. I work for Ariane Space in the business development section, and I'm going to introduce the way we address moon services with Ariane 6. So just a very, very short reminder. So Ariane Space is the European launch service provider that is operating a full family of launch vehicles. So first, our heavy launch vehicle Ariane 5, of course, the medium launch vehicle Soyuz, and the lightweight launch vehicle Vega. So we have our headquarters in Évry, 3 offices in Washington, Singapore, and Tokyo, and we are operating from Kourou mainly, but also from Baikonur and from Bosnoshti for the Soyuz. And we have a next generation of launch vehicle that is coming this year and next year, the Ariane 6, our future heavy launch vehicle, as soon as 2022, and the Vega C, which is a updated version of the Vega, who is going to come as soon as the end of this year. So,
excuse me, can you put the slides in presentation mode? Because apparently in the room they just see 30% of it.
Oh, like this?
Sorry, thank you. Let's see.
Does it work?
I don't know yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah,
it works on the Zoom, but it doesn't work on the...
We can see it perfectly in situ here in the room, but I can see that online we can't see the full picture yet. Sorry, but we're trying to fix that as soon as we can.
So I will share the slides anyway after the session. So may I go on?
Thank you, Raphaël. Just to say to everybody that he's going to share the slides. And just to say to you, Raphaël, at the moment we can see the top left third of the images.
Oh, okay, that's quite And maybe if I...
Now we can see everything. Perfect.
Now you can see it. Okay, that's good. Then. All right. All right. So we've seen during these days of the workshop that the dynamic for moon missions is quite strong and confirmed, that we've been seeing for a couple of years now for missions on the surface of the moon, for lunar mining, for lunar habitats, etc., and also around the moon for navigation, telecommunications, etc. And on the launcher perspective, when we want to construct moon missions, we have two main constraints. The first is to make sure that we launch in order to cross the lunar orbital plane. And this implies that we have instant launch, meaning no launch window, if you really want to choose the run. And then you want to meet the moon at the right positions on this lunar orbital plane. And this means that you will launch only some days during the month. Worst case would be 2 days a month, unless a phasing strategy is foreseen by the lunar spacecraft. And this is why, based on these constraints, we have thought back at the end of 2019 to open a launch opportunity with Ariane 6, which is a full rideshare mission, meaning that we only embark lunar missions that share the same constraints. And so we propose this service as soon as 2024, using the high capability of Ariane 6, either in Ariane 62 versions with 3.6 tons of performance to a direct LTO injection orbit, meaning 380,000 kilometers of apogee. So this is at low inclination at 6 degrees, which is typically what we do for GTO missions. And using the same parameters, we have 8.6 tons of performance with Ariane 64. And so the final launch versions that we will choose will depend on the number of passengers that we will have for such a rideshare mission. And so just to finish, on this highway to the moon missions, we will use a specific multi-launch service, which is a specific carrying structure in order to address any type of payloads, from CubeSats willing to do some in-orbit demonstrations around the moon, to small, medium, or even big lunar lander that wants to go at the surface of the moon. And this MLS structure is developed not only for this rideshare missions towards the moon, but also for other types of missions using Ariane 6. And this proof of concept of such missions is expected as soon as 2023. Of course, we are also considering several injection strategies. This is a trade-off that needs to be made between what the launch vehicle can provide and what the spacecraft that we want to embark have in terms of phasing capacity. We can consider launching everybody in a GTO that is more or less inclined. We can imagine going by a circular parking orbit using the multi-boost capacity of the upper stage of Ariane 6 in order to increase the launch opportunities from Kourou. We can also use this parking orbit for direct LTO missions. Of course, it has an impact on the launch vehicle performance, but it gives full flexibility and agility to the lunar missions. So the main message here is that booking is open. We have already several strong prospects on such missions, from CubeSats to lunar landers. And don't hesitate if you have any questions, or to directly contact me if you're interested in such a service. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Raphael, and I'm sorry that you've had some technical difficulties, and we've had a few our side as well. Patrick, Advenit, have you got any questions for Raphael? Most of the questions coming in the chat are about just trying to see your talk, in fact, Raphael.
So yeah, there is a question which is that the slide mentioned an 8,600 kilogram capacity for Ariane 6. Yes. So is that to lunar surface?
No. This is, so if I can get to back to this slide. So these are very solid numbers because they are actually updated in the new version of Ariane 64 and 62 user manual. And this is for missions that we inject everybody on a high elliptic orbit, which is written on the slide. The apogee is 380,000 kilometers. The perigee is 200 kilometers at 6 degrees. This is the reference mission. And then the passengers will have to make their own work in order to orbit around the moon and to go at the surface. Right now, we are also currently studying a capability to bring the payload in a lunar orbit, but this is more for dedicated missions because obviously the performance will be much less for such end-to-end service, meaning from liftoff from the Earth to injection into the right lunar orbit, even at the surface.
Okay. So what is the maximum mass of a payload that you can carry on the moon? Like if you want to design a lander, what would be the maximum mass?
I mean, so right now, if you consider such an injection strategy, then you can have an 8-ton lander. This would be a dedicated flight. But we offer this rideshare in order also for smaller candidates to share the launch cost. And this is basically right now, typically our prospects are more about 1.5 tons lunar lander,
okay,
which we see in the lunar landscape. But we also have prospects for a much smaller payload, like I said, for CubeSat. We are discussing with CubeSat deployers that could also address, we separate the deployer in the lunar transfer orbit, and then the deployer is making the rest of the missions. So we are discussing with many different type of players.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And is there time for one question more?
Go ahead. I'll squeeze it in.
Just a very quick one. Is there a chance of multiple separations? Or do you need to separate all passengers at the same time?
No. So the multi-launch service take into account multi-separations. So if you want to be separated at different locations in space, you can do this. But of course, you need to reboost your upper stage in order to do so. And so it also has an impact on the lift-off capacity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both so much, and I'm very glad that we could finally see both of you as well. And I think now we fixed any technical issues.